Hey everyone, and welcome to Television from the Multiverse, the DC TV podcast from MailFuzz TV. I am Peter, and over on the other side of the screen is Connor.
Yes, it is.
And I've got everything in the wrong place. This is how discombobulated we are starting at this weird time, is I've got everything in the wrong place. Now I'm putting things over Connor's face. This is your fault. I'm blaming you, unequivocally.
I accept 10% of that blame.
You delayed this recording twice, which is why we're late for a start. And then you said to me, hey, do you want to start recording this now? When we never record before something else. And I had to scramble to get ready. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm sorry for seeing an opportunity.
Look, it's just blame Carter. Blame the ginger. That's just the motto here. Blame the ginger.
My body clock is stuck in the wrong place right now.
Yes.
It's a problem.
Anyway, we got DC shows to talk about. Coming up on this week's show, stuff's back. I mean, we had Flashback last week, but now everything else is back, more or less. Everything but Legends. So we have this week Young Justice. We get 3 episodes of that. We have Supergirl. We have Arrow, Black Lightning, and Flash. I had to think about that because they've changed the order, because Black Lightning is now on Monday after Arrow.
It is, isn't it?
Yes, so that threw me off there for a second. But that's what's coming up. A little bit of news as well, but that's what the show's going to be. So here we are. We're actually recording this in 2 halves, because we have time right now for half of it. And then after the comics podcast, which we're doing with Matt, we'll have time for the rest of it. That's the plan. Yes. Amongst other things we've got to catch up on, because again, blame the ginger for everything. That's
10%. Told you, 10% of the blame.
That said, the first night I wasn't really that upset you delayed things, because it was the release of Resident Evil 2 Remake, and I wasn't necessarily that upset that I got to play that for like an extra 3 hours. I wasn't that upset.
No, I'm not surprised. You know, when I said, "Oh well, we've got time now," you were like, "Well, I've got comics to read," and I'm like, in my head, I'm going, "I thought you were going to get all those read before Resident Evil."
No. See, I always have time on Saturday to read my comics before the show, because you're usually at work at this time. We never do things at this time.
It's true. I'm not at work this week.
You've got me conditioned to this being catch-up time.
Yeah.
So,
but you did say you were going to read them all before Resident Evil this week.
And then I realised I didn't have to, and it was fine.
It's no excuse.
There's plenty of excuses. Anyway, let's move on to some news in the DC TV world. First up, let's start with the scary thing. It'll wake us up. Arrow's doing a Birds of Prey episode this season. It's going to be led by Earth 2 Laurel Lance, a.k.a. Black Siren, a.k.a. the new Ish Black Canary. It's part of a redemption story. This was revealed when showrunner Beth Schwartz was talking about this recently. So, yeah. I have some worries about this. First of all, who are the other, birds going to be? And secondly, is Felicity going to be the Oracle?
Yes.
The fact that they're already seeding like a sort of kind of friendship between her and Black Siren means it is all but inevitable.
Yeah. Get used to it.
And that upsets me greatly. It brings tears and fears to my face.
At least you've got a movie coming to make up for it.
Which also doesn't have Barbara Gordon in it.
Don't know what to tell you.
Oh my god.
It's not the only Arrow news though, is it?
Is it not?
No, do you not have this down?
What other Arrow news are you talking about?
The thing about the 150th episode, they're doing like a special thing where it's going to be documentary style.
Did we not talk about this already last week?
I don't think we did. I think it came up after we recorded.
Oh, did we? Okay, I ignored it because I thought we talked about it already, but fair enough.
Yeah, I think it came up like right after we finished.
Yeah, Kelsey Grammer's going to be at it.
Yeah. He's doing the narration for the documentary, which is cool, I guess. It's not a bad concept, although Arrow will somehow screw it up, I'm sure.
I like Kelsey Grammer, so sure, I'll take it.
Yeah.
We got our first look at a couple of things coming up in Supergirl. John Cryer is Lex in prison with his bald head.
I appreciate you telling me about these, because I haven't seen this.
And Dreamer in costume. Did you not see Dreamer in costume?
Yeah, not see that either, no.
Really, that was a proper promo shot with everything. Fair enough.
Well,
Look,
you can't. Don't just assume I've seen these things.
Well, to me, the Lex one, you don't have to see the Lex one. It's it's whatever. He's a guy. He's a bald guy with a beard. It's fine. Like you're not missing anything. Dreamer, on the other hand, is a little bit more specific. You get a costume and everything. I'm going to message you right now the costume for Dreamer. See, unlike a trailer, you can just glance at that while we're.
I can. This better be interesting.
I mean, it's what it is. It's a blue and white outfit. She's got a little mask on.
Yeah, looks like a costume.
Yeah, it's all right.
I actually don't have much to say about it. It just looks like another costume from these shows.
It does.
I'm not overly familiar with what a costume should have looked like, so...
It doesn't look bad. In fact, the promo shot looks better than some of the promo shots they put out do.
No, that's true.
Probably that whirling effect I've got going on it.
Covering up some of it.
Yeah, covers up some of the
sheen that it usually has.
Yeah. Perhaps maybe some bigger news is we have some casting for the Batwoman pilot this week. 3 characters have been cast. We have Megan Tandy, who's on Jane by Design and Teen Wolf. I've never even heard of Jane by Design. I think when I read this a second ago, when I was getting this news ready, I'm pretty sure I read in my head Jane the Virgin because I've heard of that show.
Do you know what's really bad is I saw this maybe half an hour ago, and mentioned it to you. I also thought it said Jane.
No, it says Jane by Design. And Teen Wolf. We have Cameras Johnson, who's going to play Luke, or who's in Luke Cage. Sorry, he's going to play Luke Fox, which is why I stuttered there for a second because I knew he was going to play Luke Fox, but he was in Luke Cage apparently. And also Nicole Kang, who was in something called You.
You was that Netflix show recently about the guy who stalked the woman.
Okay.
It was in the last month or so.
So they're going to play Sophie Moore, Luke Fox, and Mary Hamilton. Luke Fox is the one that jumps out. In fact, I think there was even some guesses, maybe by us, maybe by others. I remember this coming up in conversation at some point, that when they referenced Wayne Tech in the Elseworlds crossover, that Luke Fox was the obvious guess. That might be a supporting character.
It's a really obvious Oracle fill-in slot. You know, the CW loves to have their team.
Needs someone in the chair.
Exactly. And then presumably we'll be Batwing by season 2 or 3.
Yeah, you go. That's your thing. Fox is the son of Bruce Wayne's one of Bruce Wayne's closest allies, Lucius Fox. It is Luke who is tasked with keeping Wayne Tower secure in Bruce's absence. Additionally, he considers
did a bit of a shit job of that, didn't he?
It's a good point. Didn't look in a very good condition when we last saw it.
And our hero's just kind of waltzed in.
Additionally, he considers himself to be the guardian of Batman's legacy. That being said, he also understands that Gotham's desperate need for a new hero, i.e. Batwoman. Fittingly, in the comics, Luke eventually joined the Batman family as Batwing. Thanks for that. So the other 2 characters are a bit more interesting because we don't necessarily know who they are as much. I mean, this first one could have been in the comics, but it's been a while since I've read Elegy and the early Batwoman stuff, so I don't remember this character, but she could have been. So Sophie Moore is a decorated military academy graduate who later became a skilled, high-level private security agent. In the comics, Kate and Sophie were in a relationship during their time at West Point. Kate was ultimately forced to resign because of her sexual orientation and kept her involvement with Sophie a secret in order to prevent her from suffering the same fate. I kind of remember this plot. I don't remember if this is the same character. It probably is.
It probably is, or at the very least it's based on her, and maybe changed a couple of details.
I remember her having to resign. I remember that part of the plot for sure. So it's probably based on a character from the comic. And then Hamilton, what's the full name? Mary Hamilton is Kate's stepsister, who's upbeat, talkative personality, makes her 2 polar opposites in just about every way. However, while Mary isn't nearly as straight-laced as Kate, she is still defined by her compassion for Gotham's disadvantaged citizens, making her more like Kate than she realizes. So,
okay.
No mention of a certain Alice, which they might not do for the pilot, admittedly.
No, I wouldn't do that in the pilot.
I don't know. I feel there's going to be a tease of her, though, in the pilot. Because that's your arch nemesis for season 1, right?
I think you mention it, maybe, as part of the backstory elements, but I don't think you...
Okay, you don't see her as Alice, but I don't want to spoil it, but you see her as...
Yeah.
I think they'll cast someone, for at least a kid actor, for a flashback.
I can see that.
And then we'll get to other things later. And then season 2 onwards, we basically just steal Bat villains because she doesn't have really anyone else.
See who's left that Arrow hasn't abused.
Yes. But that was the news this week for DC TV stuff. So without further ado, we can actually get soldiering on to Young Justice. We have 3 episodes. Now I realise being late that the 4 episodes of the mid-season break are already up, but
yeah, which actually means that we've got 2 weeks without a DC Universe show before Doom Patrol starts, I think. Because that doesn't start till the 15th.
That's, Joe, it's almost tempting to split those last 4 up into 2 batches of 2. Almost, but I don't want to feel like the last couple are really late. So
yeah. Plus, I really want to watch them.
Plus, you really want to watch them, yes. So where are we in terms of names here? So this is episodes 7, 8, and 9. Episode 7 is called Evolution. Episode 8 is called Triptych, and episode 9 is called Home Fires. So yeah, I had to skim through these because watching 3 of these back to back 2 days ago means that I couldn't remember what happened and what. And I was right that I did skim through it, because when I was trying to remember it before I skimmed through them again, I remembered the Lobo plot from the 9th episode as being in the 8th episode, and I'd completely forgotten the 8th episode.
That's a good sign for talking about 8.
Well, no, I looked at it again. I was like, oh yeah, it was this one. It was all this stuff. But it's just, you watch 3 of them back to back, they all start to blend and merge together.
It's why I always try and watch other stuff between them.
Yeah.
7 I thought was pretty distinct though.
Yeah, the first one is pretty distinct because it mainly focuses on Vandal Savage and has a lot of flashbacks to his kind of like, not just his origin, but kind of his evolution through certain periods of history. Yeah. We saw how he interacted with Darkseid, how he got his power, how he fought others. So on and so on. Ultimately, it builds up to this really dark moment at the end where he kills his older daughter because she's becoming senile, and he's like, "Yep, you're done now. So just next nap." And the younger daughter's like, "Oh yes, she died peacefully in your arms. That was the right thing to do." But she's clearly scared shitless that she's just witnessed this.
Yep.
All while there's an alien fleet trying to invade Earth, and Vandal's like, No. Earth's mine to be toyed with.
It's pretty funny. He phones up Lex and it's like, "Hey, come on, let's get the Justice League on it." And Lex is like, "Yeah, the ones that are left aren't really up to this. Let's not."
Yeah.
And they suggest, Green Lantern, well, I mean, yeah, fine, I'll do it myself.
Yeah. So he calls on Darkseid for some aid, and they fight. That's basically it. There's some nice images as this is happening. You've got all the war worlds going nuts and firing blasts off, and
all the Armada looks great.
Yeah. That's good stuff. Meanwhile, on Earth, on the homeworld on Earth, we have the newbies being trained on a beach. They're getting trained by Connor, Artemis, and Dick. Yep. And we had some fun here. We get them getting their costumes and some jokes about their names. I particularly enjoyed the dig about Tigress' name because at first Geoforce is like, "I will be called Hot Lava," and she's like, "Can we have something that sounds less like a stripper?" And Dick's like, "Yeah, coming from the person who goes by Tigress."
Yeah.
Punch.
Yeah.
So no, that was good. Then the crack about like Geoforce is like, "Oh, this suit won't melt." Oh, that's great because it's awkward being naked in training, and then Forge was like, "What's wrong with naked? Forger's naked now." And Halo's like,
can't look at you now.
Even though he's clearly of a species that just walks around naked. It's
I love that he puts on a helmet and goes, "Now I'm not naked." And Halo's like, "This is fine. It's good enough for me."
Oh dear. There's actually a nice callback to this 2 episodes later when he does eventually get proper naked when he takes off his shell. Yeah. And the hug when he does that. See when he hugs Geoforce, it's just this slime just clings to him.
What was the word they used? Gucci?
I think it was Gucci, yeah. It's just this gunge, it's just like, Geoforce like, I don't care, I'm just happy you're alive, and it just like
yeah.
So no, that was good stuff. And that was basically the first episode.
Yeah, I actually really liked the Vandal Savage stuff. I had a lot of style in the storytelling.
Yeah. No, I liked the little meta debate about how Batman and Superman would never fight. Did you enjoy that?
Dig's just like, "This is stupid. What are you on about?"
Yeah. And he turns it into a serious little speech about how like when there's a power imbalance that like there has to be balance, or the powerful will take over the weaker, and therefore it'll lead to this, and that's how the Neanderthal, and it ties into what we're seeing in the flashbacks with Savage, and it's just a neat little trick. But I did get a good chuckle as there were as Dick was like, "This would never happen, this is stupid," and I'm just like, yeah, give that movie the finger, give it both fingers. Do it.
It's a proper DC thing.
A little subplot is Black Lightning and Jace are shacking up, which they're kind of hinting at for a bit. Although I don't know if they specified that it was divorce yet. So I think last episode or last week in one of those episodes, I was thinking, oh, they seem to be teasing a relationship here, but is he still with Lynn? Is that have they broke up?
I think I just assumed they were broken up based on, he's not a dick as a character.
Yeah, they confirmed it in these episodes, but I assumed that it wasn't. I assumed the divorce by now, but
yeah,
I wasn't sure because they didn't mention it. I don't think there was a scene with her, but I don't think they mentioned that they were split up.
No, I think they were a bit frosty, which So I mean, but no, here we go. It's fine.
Yeah, it can be frosty.
Yeah,
be frosty. So yeah, that was episode 7. Episode 8 was a kind of a little anthology style episode with 3 different things going on. Although the little trick at the end was because it's like there's like 3 debriefs going on where Tim's debriefing Batman, or Batman's debriefing Tim rather, about what Tim's team has been doing. Which, by the way, Tim was with Orphan and Spoiler, and also Arrowette.
I forgot Orphan was here.
Like Arrowette's the weak link in this team. Like Arrowette,
she's fine, but who cares?
Spoiler and Cass, come on. And they're going after Mad Hatter, or it turns out to be Clayface, which leads to Mad Hatter.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I got a little chill when Cassandra stabs Clayface, and I'm like,
I know, I'm like
oh,
she wouldn't do that.
No, Cassandra and Clayface are close.
Yeah.
What are you doing to me? And then we have the first story, which is Deck, Artemis, a couple others. Geoforce is there, Halo, and Bug, and they go after Cheshire, Shade. Livewire was there. Because they're working for Stag, or they're stealing something from Stag. I will say, this is probably the most complex episode, because at the end when they're going through explaining how all the 3 stories connect, I'm like, okay, right, there's a lot of there's a lot of strings on the board here.
There is,
because it turns out that the Jarvis, they were calling him Jarvis Tech. I've always called him Jarvis Tech.
No, Tech. So is that a T, hasn't it? Got a second T, hasn't it?
Does it have a second T? Maybe you're right. I think in my head, maybe it's because I'm Scottish and I see the CH and I think there's an equal chance that's a K,
Yeah, no, I get where you're coming from, but I think there's a second T.
And I think because he makes technology, I thought it was a play on tech.
I get that.
But whatever. Tech. I'll accept this. I'm not accepting Bell Rev though. It's Bell Reeves.
No. Bell Rev's stupid.
Shove it right.
But I mean, okay, they're wrong on Bell Rev, but they got Raish, so it's all good. Evens out.
No, that one's. I'll accept I'm wrong about Mad Hatter. I've just been misreading that the whole time. I'm not accepting this about Raz.
It's Raish.
This is a fight to the death. But so it turns out that the tech's been used in Shade and all that. It's Stag's controlling them, but then they all get let free by the various heroes except Shade. But Cheshire has control of him. But even though they think she won't give him control back, we see that she actually does, and she sends Shade after because she gives him the device. So clearly she's relinquished control. And Shade comes to get Stag for controlling him because he's not happy. There's some fun. Probably the best fighting in the episode is when they're fighting Shade in that, and it's Shade's opening up, Shade portals, and he puts Geoforce in, and
it's pretty inventive with the way they fly around. Bugs rolling at him, and he just teleports him back out at Halo.
Yeah. So all that stuff was pretty good. Halo, in fact, Halo has a couple of new powers actually. We see 2 more of them. One is this light sort of blast that she has in this episode. The last episode, she revealed that she could make copies of herself, or at least holograms of herself.
Like holograms. It's not just of herself, is it? Because against Lobo in the next episode.
Oh, quite right. I was thinking of that scene, because in that scene it is just her.
It is just her in that first scene, but we see later on that it can be anything.
We'll call this the Loki move.
Yes.
Because it's not like multiplex where it's actual copies that can fight. It doesn't seem like it. It's just holograms.
Just holograms.
Just images.
Yeah.
So, and then the third story was Brick and that were being transported in prison, and Sportsmaster shows up trying to break them out, and Shazam and Flash and someone else.
I did like them too in the truck, being like, "Yeah, this is pretty good, isn't it?"
Yeah, it was good. That one was the shortest, but it was just to establish that they're stealing metas and villains to then control for other things. Yeah, it was all this roundabout
thing. Still didn't get away with it.
And still didn't get away with it, yeah. So, But the main sort of dramatic point was at the end when you realised all these debriefings, because one is, you know, Batman's debriefing Tim, Barbara's talking to Dick about his mission, and then you have Aqualad and Miss Martian talking to Wonder Woman via hologram phone call, because she's in space. And then the reveal at the end is that they're all in the same room. All these debriefings are all happening in the Batcave, I think it is. And it's like, okay, so we're all conferring, we're all sharing information, this all connects together. But Wonder Woman's like, you know, I don't like how we're operating here. Between the 6 of us, we're running like 7 teams, and no one knows we're working together. This is kind of shady. We should not be like doing it like this. And Batman's like, no, the League have to have plausible deniability, and this is how the Light operates, so maybe we should take a real... And Wonder Woman's like, no. We are better than the Light. We don't operate... And Tim has that really funny moment.
Think of us as the anti-light.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, the opposite of light is darkness. Is that really the path we want to go down?
Yeah. No, interesting stuff, because obviously, you know, the whole... Okay, the League need plausible deniability. And one was like, well, what about me? You just expect me to lie under oath? And it's like, well, I mean... You got a diplomat community. You can get away with a bit.
Diplomatic community.
That was not an invitation to do that. It's never an invitation to do that.
You actually went too far. I was just going to jump in and say it, but you said it really quickly, but I'm doing it anyway. Wonder Woman has diplomatic community.
God damn it. But yeah, so and it comes to, you know, it ends on her asking, so what about the rest of you? Are you guys all willing to lie? And they look pretty uncomfortable. And it
ends on a sort of sour note where they're all just kind of standing there awkwardly, like, oh, what are we doing? So that was episode 8. Episode 9 was called Home Fires, and it was 2 plots. One was that Lobo was hired to assassinate Bug.
Yep.
And they're actually training. Jace is there as well. Geoforce is getting pissed because they've got a lead on where the League of Shadows are from was it Cheshire they got that from, I think?
Cheshire, yeah.
And
all we know is they don't know who the leader is, but they're running out of Santa Prisca. So, yeah. I mean, your mind leaps to Bane, right?
Yeah, you think Bane when you think that. And they introduced Santa Prisca back in like season 1, I think. Like,
yeah, and Bane was there. That was a big thing. So I mean, it feels like it's almost a bit too obvious.
Could be a swerve, we'll see. But Lobo shows up. They have a big fight. Again, a lot of fun fighting stuff here. Different powers being used. And eventually, like, they kind of win by tricking Lobo into him thinking that he's killed Bug, because he smashes the shell that rolls in. But then Bug comes out and he's in his gunky naked self, and it's like, hey, Bug's all happy. You're all part of Bug's hive. It's all delightful.
I hope he can grow a new shell.
Far more interesting for me was the other plot in this episode.
Me too. Although this was all really fun stuff. Again, all the fight stuff was really great to see the way they were playing as a team.
Yeah, no, it was good. But the other plot is a birthday party for the twins, Dawn and Dawn. And first of all, Bart referring to his dad as dad when he's a baby is hilarious. And then calling Iris grandma. He's like, don't call me grandma.
Yeah.
I'm not ready for this. I just had a child. And then you have Mira showing up. You have Lois showing up with John Kent. Can we talk about that for a second?
I know. I was like, okay, they're doing things.
Delightful. So, just to point out, we have a Damien baby and we have a John Kent baby. I'm just pointing that out.
Season 4. Maybe even 5.
Maybe 5. Depends what the time jumps are. Yeah. But we have the Super Sons born. They're birthed. Yeah. So, that's cool. So, a lot of fun cameos here, and there's some mysterious person watching from across the street, maybe going to assassinate them. Whatever's happening. It's building up throughout the episode. Yeah,
he's talking in a different language.
Yeah.
I think there's a bit at the start where you wonder if it's Lobo immediately, because obviously...
we knew he was sent to kill someone, yeah.
Yeah, we knew he was sent to kill someone, and he was talking in a different language that was subtitled as well. So before you see anything, there's maybe that implication.
Now, of course, we're not great DC fans here, because a real DC fan would recognise Atlantean immediately.
Oh, of course. How dare we?
Because you hear it spoken so often. But yeah, so this turns out to be Orm, and Lady Shiva shows up and basically says, no, you can't go in there. We could have killed all their families, but we call this the nuclear option because, like,
we do that, they've got nothing left to lose.
Yeah, it's mutually assured destruction. If we do that, like, they have morals and codes. Some of them will keep them even in this, but some of them won't. Like, this will turn some of them absolutely vengeful savage. Absolutely. We know this is going to be like World War III if we do this. So we don't entertain this lightly. Like, we could do this, and we have thought about it before, but we've always said no. because it's just not the wise play, and that includes right now. So she tries to recruit him to the light, and Orm says no, basically, so she decapitates him, so Orm's dead. Ocean Master's dead.
I mean, not too bothered, it's only Orm.
I know. I don't want to say I gasped exactly, but I did kind of let out when she just swiped the sword and his head came tumbling off. I was like, damn, she just decapitated Orm.
Orm was big enough as just about that you don't expect this in as just a casual.
And obviously they wrote this before, but he was just in a movie. He was just in a $1 billion movie. People know who
Orm is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it's kind of cool. And then in the end of it, because it starts a little bit with the light as well, but it ends with Shiva coming. She's the new member of the light. She's proven herself well there. She's contained this situation.
Yeah.
And the light are like, right, we now have new teams of heroes, and we've all seen in the past that these teenage heroes can be a pest. So they're aware, they're concerned, and that's where we leave off episode 9.
Reminds me in episode 7, I like the touch of how the light name came about. Vandal Savage and his daughter, with the fate timeline, basically, with Naboo and his daughter, and they were called the Light because of those powers.
Yeah. And naturally it started with him because he's the oldest bastard on the planet.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think the clear implication of that episode is he is the origin of every meta on Earth.
Yeah. Well, he's always kind of been the DC version of Apocalypse, in the sense that Apocalypse was this ancient mutant compared to everyone else, so he's this ancient meta. It's not the exact same story, but there's comparisons to be made there.
Yeah. No, this one here is very clear that it's his children always get the powers, and then it's their children, so on. It's passed on like that. That's how we've got metas because of him. So many
descendants. Not including, of course, people who got powers from elsewhere. I wouldn't include speedsters in this. I wouldn't include, so on and so forth.
No. People who are born with powers, or and all of this meta gene talk in this season.
Yeah, actually, one other thing we have to talk about. They're watching TV in this episode early on, and there's this new the goggles that we saw this last week. The good goggles. Never even thought about it. And it
you know what threw me off? It was because it's the E at the end of good.
Yeah, and it introduces Gretchen Good, and then says in quotations Granny Goodness, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah, we get a little interview with her on Godfrey's show.
Yeah,
and it's weird being on Godfrey's side because I'm like,
yeah,
I know she's evil as shit,
and I'm like, oh man, what are they setting up here? And I'm like, does she know she's evil yet? How they're playing this? And at the end, she's like, no, she's with the light. She's part of this team.
Yeah.
This is Granny Goodness. This is pretending to be a nice old granny who runs a business.
Classic.
Oh dear. Young Justice does not disappoint typically, and this week was the same. It was gold.
I think we're getting Cyborg as well. There was a mention of Victor Stone.
Yeah. Another joke I really liked actually is when Jefferson brings Jace to the team in episode 9, and you can thank Jefferson for us giving you a second chance, and he's like, oh, she did. Oh, awkward looks.
Yeah.
I said that.
What was the metaphor they kept using? Was it the fences?
The fence, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was what GFR's been like, can we just drop this fence metaphor? It's kind of stupid.
Oh yeah, that was the other thing I liked about Bug, is Bug kept thinking certain mistakes were a game, so he would intentionally do the mistake, and then they would tell him to stop it. He'd be like, no, Bug is good at this game.
Yeah, like when they get the names wrong, so, it's like Halo, no, Violet, either way around, depending on which situation it's in. And then GeoForce would do it just normally, just say the right thing, and then Bug would be like, no, you're doing it wrong. And then intentionally mess it up.
That'll take us out to Supergirl, Season 4, Episode 10. It's called Suspicious Minds. So, mid-season premiere, and we have Supergirl now away from the DEO. Colonel Haley's still been a dick about it, and the plot of this episode is that she's trying to find out what her secret identity is. That is the main thrust of this episode.
Yeah.
And she's interrogating, and do you know what? I like that they addressed that some of the DEO have to know who she is.
Yeah, it's less than I'd have thought, but they're all just random no-names.
Yeah, I like they said, no, here, there's a group of about 7 or 8 red shirts who know who she is. We have to address this. So, you know what? I appreciate that, because I've complained about this before, that she seemed very flippant about just walking around as Kara at the DEO and, whatnot. So, I appreciate that. That is good. I like the general plot. I like the general plot of Haley trying to find out and that being a concern, and like, okay, how do we handle this? I also like the plot of her actually finding out by interrogating one of the DEO operatives, and then having.
I laughed that it was the one that was so confident at the start, being like, "We'll use our anti-interrogation training, whatever that acronym was," and it's like, and we'll just lie to her. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a nice scene where, I mean, their acting wasn't great, but it was a nice enough idea that they all stand up and say, "No, we'll protect Supergirl. We'll do it." It was a nice enough sentiment. But I like, okay, so first of all, I kind of popped a little bit when Alex punched her. I was like, yeah, because all episodes is building up, and we find out that she's been a part of this weird alien captive, brainwashing thing, this program. She deserves the punch. Alex gives her knocks her out, and they call in Jean to wipe her mind, and he's feeling, obviously he's not loving the idea, but he's like, no, it has to be done because Haley's going to outright use Supergirl as a weapon. He's like, you belong to me now because I know your secret, and if you don't want anyone to find out, you're going to do what I say. So they wipe her mind, but she's still trying to find out after that, and they bring in this the Truth Seeker alien, and it's like, shit, they're going to like scan everyone and find out who it is anyway. And it comes down to Jean's like, well, I'm going to wipe the mind of everyone who knows, and they've all given their consent, which I like. I like that point as well. And it's like, okay. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, yeah, but what about Alex? She's still going to test her. And then immediately, we end the episode with this scene of Alex saying, no, I'm going to have to get my mind wiped as well. I can't know you're Supergirl.
Yeah, has some interesting implications. I assume Alex is going to be kind of awful.
About Supergirl?
Not just about Supergirl, against aliens in general. I think it'll be the idea that without Kara there to, humanize them, she is going to be hardline DEO anti-alien.
Yeah, I could see that. I like the Supergirl referenced Elseworlds when she said, I just came from a world where you didn't know who I was.
Yeah.
It felt thematically relevant to bring that up, so I'm glad they did. I liked the scene. I kind of liked when Churchy started playing. I recognized the song and went, oh, it's Churchy's.
Oh, she did.
I was into that. It was a touching enough scene, it was a nice moment to end on. I think the idea of like taking the secret identity knowledge away from someone, I think this would be a really frustrating plot if it was someone who didn't know for seasons and only found out last year or something like that. But because Alex has known her entire life and it's never been a secret, this is a bit more interesting to.
It is, because it actually has some sort of effect on her personality. You would assume, right?
Yeah.
Someone who learnt last year probably hasn't changed that much, right? But Alex was what, 10 or 12 or something like that, I think it was.
Yeah, she's known since she's met her, basically.
Yeah.
And so that makes it not frustrating to me. To me, this is an interesting plot to go down because it's like we can kind of have them almost reform their bond as sisters in an interesting way.
Yeah.
And when she finally remembers, it'll be a big thing, which I expect will be the end of the season. I think by the end of the season she'll get her memories back.
Yeah. John can just undo it.
Yeah, pretty much. But I think it's an interesting idea for now to explore some drama between the characters. I like it as well because it means that there's some actual emotional investment for Kara. Because one of my bigger complaints about this season, and probably honestly last season as well, is that she feels more like a supporting character in her own show.
Yeah.
Like the story doesn't really revolve around her, even though it feels like it should because it's about alien immigration and she feels that she should be at the center of that.
She's kind of the poster child for that.
Yeah, but I mean, this episode focused less on her, but I don't mind it focusing on, say, Alex more for an episode here or there, like this one did. That's fine.
Yeah.
The problem is that there's been too many episodes where it's focused more on James and his bullshit, or it's focused more on Lena and her bullshit, or it's focused more, and it's like,
Don't remind me.
There's a couple of Lena James scenes in this one, but not too many.
But they're all bloody tedious.
They're very tedious. Because all it really amounts to in this one is that James is going to support our experiments.
Yeah, we got this whole bit at the start with Kara and Lena at the gym, and they're like, well, wait, so you haven't been talking since Thanksgiving? I'm like, fine, just leave it like this. just never let them talk again.
Yeah, was it just weird? Did Kara take her glasses off really quickly? Like she left to go and save because she heard the distress in the ship, and she leaves the room. She takes her glasses off when she's like still in the room with all the people in the spin class, and I was like, wait till you get out the door.
That's fair. I didn't really notice, but I can't complain.
Yeah. So yeah, the other side of the plot is that there's these like invisible aliens that Kara can kind of see like almost like a predator style camouflage because of her better vision, but everyone else is just invisible too. I kind of like the scene.
I wish they hadn't said because of the X-ray vision that she has though.
Yeah, that was too specific because it's not X-ray.
It's not X-ray. You just see their bones.
Yeah, this was more just a different frequency or something, like a different wavelength.
Don't say X-ray.
Yeah. But I did kind of like the scene where the DEO just kind of has to line up and just kind of, because I was like, oh, paintball guns, that makes sense. Then you can see them. Brainy smart.
Yeah.
That works.
I liked that when one of the aliens killed itself, rather than go back to Haley. That was dark as shit.
That was really dark, and it really set up just how bad what they've been doing is. And then when we find out, no, they were kidnapping, alien children, brainwashing them with torture so that they would, fear them and be under their command. And I'm like, this is heinous shit. Like, if there was any sort of middle ground with Haley claims she wasn't there for all of it, but she just certainly wasn't against it.
No, Alex confronts her and she's like, "Yes, the alien. Who cares?" And I was like, "Yeah, but they're sentient beings," and he's like, whatever. It's also them.
Yeah. So basically, okay, she's proper villain now. I don't there's no redemption for that.
No.
I mean, not really. So yeah. So I thought this episode mostly worked fairly well, actually.
Yeah, it was all right.
The Brainy and Nia stuff was pretty funny, where he calls up to make a date and then doesn't actually make the date. He takes the yes and hangs up.
And then it's not really a date because he just wants to go, here, go be dreamer.
Yeah, because he wants to give Supergirl help because she's not got the DEO anymore. So he goes to Jean, and Jean's like, of course I'm going to help her. And he tries to pay Jean, who, by the way, has got an office now. He's got a proper PI office.
He does.
Which says John Jones on the window, I noticed, by the way.
Yeah, even though, it reminds us in this very episode that he still kind of goes by Hank. Because when he goes up to one of the generals, that they go to rescue, where the alien kills itself.
At least with him, though, I would accept that he just knows him as Hank because he knows him from the DEO. He knows him from that life. Maybe he's going to go by John Jones now to the public.
Sure. It's going to be complicated explaining it to people he knew, isn't it, though, if he runs into them?
It's fine. He'll just take the memories away. He'll do a search and replace.
It's such an extreme thing to do.
He'll do a search and replace a word when you just Control F and then replace it all with the other word.
Sure, why not?
That's what he'll do. So no, I like that. I liked him Brainy try to pay him, and Jean be like, "No, you left this wad of cash." Because I love how he pulls out a roll of cash. Like he's actually got quite a lot of money.
Yeah. And he just leaves it there. And John's like, "You dropped it." And it's like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah. You'll bill me then. It's just fun stuff. So Dreamer's got the idea of being a superhero, and she's not really into it yet, but she's looking through the binder with costumes, and I'm like, Brainy, you're kind of cheating. You kind of know from history what she's going to end up being.
Yeah. You've clearly put the exact right thing in there somewhere. Yes.
It's really funny. Unless he's intentionally not done that, and she comes back to him and says, "No, I want the headpiece of this one, the color scheme of that one." But he's intentionally separated them, so she still has to make the choice.
Maybe.
Not to mess with history. Maybe I'm giving him too much credit, but
I think you are. I think Brainy, as smart as he is, doesn't think things through like that.
Oh, speaking of funny Brainy moments, I really liked because he can make himself forget stuff for a period of time. And he comes out of the interrogation with Haley, and Alex is like, "Oh, so you didn't tell him that Supergirl is Kara?" And he's like, "What? Supergirl's Kara? She's your sister. Don't be ridiculous."
With the glasses?
with the glasses. I can't be Supergirl. And then it wears off 10 seconds later, and he's like, "Ah, yes."
Yeah, but he still looks a bit confused. Like he's just processing it again for the first time.
Brainy's the best addition to this cast since the start of the show. I'm saying it.
Yeah. He's still no Win, don't get me wrong.
No, I like Win, don't get me wrong, but I like him more than Lena. I like him more than who else would be more than Moniel, obviously. I mean,
goes without saying.
Yeah, Brainy's actually a legitimately great addition to the cast. He's delightful. So, if we could just get rid of Lena and James.
Yeah, let's just pretend they're happy and they can leave.
Can they just pull a Lucy Lane?
Yeah, let's do that.
Pull a Lucy Lane and just disappear. Which reminds me, there was a little bit of training with Comrade Zor-El at the start of the episode. They're training her up with tanks and missiles, and
tanks ain't enough.
And they're trying to control her as well. They're developing something to control her outright, but they've not quite sussed it yet. So I'm expecting some sort of tech or something. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an alright episode. It didn't really excite me, but I mean it was fine.
Yeah, it wasn't like an amazing episode. I actually quite liked the ending. I know some people hate the ending because they think it's degrading the relationship, but to me it's actually interesting drama to do this. I'd probably, like I say, I'd feel really differently if this was a character who didn't know for a while and then found it was a big deal about them finding out at one point.
Yeah, but I think I don't understand how you could say it's degrading the relationship. The whole point of this is that no, they've had this relationship the whole life, and it's gonna be and they've got to go through this for her protection. There's something there,
and it didn't feel forced to me either. It felt like a natural thing, and I think it especially felt natural because they made the point of telling us that they're going to have to wipe the minds of everyone else first, and then I immediately said, "But they'll have to do it for Alex then," and then they brought it up. So they almost intentionally made us think of it first.
Yeah, definitely.
Which is good because it feels more natural that way. So no, I'm actually on board with this plot development. Honestly, I know some people don't like it, but I actually kind of dig it. So. I mean, it might go to shit next episode. It might be tedious to go through for all I know, but at least right now I see potential in it.
Yeah, me too.
So, yeah, that's good. No, that was an okay episode. I mean, the Lena and James scenes could be jettisoned off the face of the earth.
Yep.
I every time it cuts to James and Lena, them making up, them making dinner together, I don't care. I just don't care about these two anymore.
Anymore, like you did.
Well, Joe, the thing is Lena's been fine for the most part on and off, but honestly, at this point, I'm willing to lose her to get rid of both of them.
Me too. And I like her a lot more than I do James.
Yeah.
Like individually.
James has been useless for a long time.
I mean,
possibly ever.
Yeah.
Possibly ever. So. It is what it is, but sister stuff was good. PI stuff. I'm liking the sense of it. I'm liking that they have a base to research. Now that she can't go to the DEO, I know she's got her.
We needed new sets.
Yeah, well, she's got her. Even the aesthetic though reminds me a little bit of the Sunnydale High Library. It's got that kind of feel to it.
It doesn't.
It does. Hit television show Buffy the Vampire Slayer for anyone who didn't get that reference.
It's nothing like it.
No, it's got the it's all wooden. A lot of wood.
No, that is not enough.
It's got that vibe.
No,
they're sitting down.
This is the most forced reference you've
had. They're doing research. It's great. So, hey, I'm fairly optimistic. Supergirl didn't immediately hit me with a bad episode, which is not the same thing I can say for some other shows that came back this week.
Yeah, we'll be looking at that in a bit.
More in those soon. That'll take us on to Arrow, and it's not been several hours since the last review.
It's fine. You warned them earlier.
I did, but still, just pretend this is just moving on naturally. No, there was no cut there. Anyway, this is Arrow season 7, episode 10. It's called My Name Is Emiko Queen, and we know Emiko from the comics quite a bit. Although she's typically much younger, and she's typically Shadow's daughter,
and she's typically just better.
Well,
and by better I mean has a personality.
That is true. Emiko in this is lacking something of a personality. And this episode does her a disservice, because this episode is written in such a way that she comes off looking like an idiot. There is a giant plot beat in this episode where she's tracking down the killer of her mother? Was that her mother?
Yeah, her mother.
Yeah. And she's tracking down this bad guy, and she's been on this paper trail, on this trail for a year. She's the mother died a year ago. She's been, first of all, she's this good as Green Arrow after a year of training. I don't know. Anyway, but she's got the murder board up. She's got all the photos, the red string, all these things, and she brings in Renee because she gets hurt and goes to him for help, and she eventually confides in him, and it's a whole thing. And he even suits up his whale dog. They go after this guy's house. She gets him, down at gunpoint. She's fights him for a bit, down at gunpoint. And then he says, I was in Santa Prisca for the last 14 months. I couldn't have been the one who killed your mom. And I went, wait, he's been in prison. First of all, Santa Prisca got a mention, right? That's Bane's prison, just for the record.
Yeah.
Secondly, she's been investigating this for a year. She had a murder board with the strings that I mentioned previously, and she didn't uncover the fact that he was out of the country at a prison for most of the last year.
Yeah.
She looks like an idiot.
Yeah.
It's hard not to take that any other way than she doesn't know what she's doing. And maybe that's the point. Like, I'm like, yeah, she's inexperienced. Maybe she does need some guidance from old Oliver Queen or whatever. But
we'll get to old people soon.
Oh yeah, as we will. Save that for the flash forwards. We'll get there. So yeah, so Renee's kind of working with her. Even brings in Curtis. She's not very thrilled that he brings in Curtis out of nowhere.
He just kind of pops his head out, and she's like, "What the hell?"
A wailed Curtis appears, and then other than that, Oliver and Felicity, like Oliver's actually brought to a crime scene where the first like Green Arrow thing happens, and they find some blood, and he takes it to Felicity.
The CSI woman's immediately like, "Don't touch anything. Get out of my crime scene."
And he wasn't actually touching anything, to be fair.
No, he didn't touch a thing.
She was making these assumptions that he was going to be an idiot and start touching things, and I don't know. Like I feel like, as much as I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Oliver Queen in this show, I don't think he's ever presented himself to be that stupid.
Not in that regard, no.
No. So Felicity does a DNA search, and naturally we're sitting there going, "Is this going to like show that she's related to Oliver?" And sure enough, it does. And for some reason, there's like almost a really sexist moment here where Felicity says, "The new Green Arrow's a woman. She's a she. She's your sister." And Oliver goes like, "Oh, woman." It wasn't that exact line. It was something like that, though. I was like,
I'm pretty sure what you just did then was out of Monty Python.
No, that was out of Wonder Woman.
Oh, is that what you were doing?
Yeah. It's when Wonder Woman walks out of the chambers and they notice that she's standing there and he's like, "There's a woman in here." And so.
No, it sounded like something out of Life of Brian.
Okay, I've not seen Life of Brian.
Oh, you're missing out.
I don't know. Holy Grail didn't do much for me, so.
You're an awful person.
What can I say? But you know, he kind of has that reaction. I can't remember what the exact line was. It was something like, "What
do you mean? A she?"
Yeah, what do you mean a she? Like he's baffled by it.
It was this response that, hang on. A female Green Arrow? That's not right.
What? You mean Lady Green Arrow? Can't just be Green Arrow now. Come on. This is, you know, I mean, I don't think he meant it that way. It felt like that the way he sort of reacted. And then she points out, "Yeah, well, this is on your father's side." So it's like, oh great, father had an illegitimate daughter. Now we have to look into this. And here's the thing. So most of the episode with Felicity and Oliver is them looking through boxes and like looking up into like the past of his parents and stuff. And somehow Moira comes out looking worse than his father, even though the father's the one who had an illegitimate child in an affair and abandoned her.
Yeah.
But he left a letter for what's his face, the Salmonator.
Yeah.
What was his character's
name?
Walter. Yes, there you go. We've not seen him in years. Left a letter for him to say, in the events of my death, to make sure this daughter's looked after, right, financially. And it never happened. Basically, Moira hid the letter and just kind of, kept it hush-hush. And, they bring up that Moira's kind of a monster for doing this. And I'm like, I mean, don't get me wrong, Moira's no angel, right? I'm not necessarily defending Moira here. But somehow Moira comes out of this conversation between Oliver and Felicity looking worse than the one that had the affair. I don't know how that happened, but somehow it did.
I know that this show's showrunner is a woman, but you wouldn't guess it by the writing in this episode.
No, because it's funny, because I think I cracked a joke that somehow Moira's looking worse than this, and then like 2 lines later, Oliver said something that made it even kind of like more down that path, and and it was like, well, this is actually starting to feel kind of weirdly sexist. What's going on? Why is Moira getting all the blame for this? They're both awful parents, I grant you this, but why is Moira getting the one?
Why is she getting the particular amount of shit here?
Oh, it's so weird. And then Felicity kind of has to stick up for him a little bit. And what's funny is that she lost her shit when she found out Oliver had a son that Oliver didn't even know about. So she has to kind of go...
Yeah, it wasn't some affair that he's had while he was with her.
So she has to kind of defend his father a little bit to him, even though what he did is worse than what Oliver did, that made her walk out of a wheelchair, might I add. The whole thing, the whole subplot with those two is, but it was funny. Don't get me wrong, we were laughing a lot at how bad it was, but
yeah, we were.
It was definitely like rough,
not good. Yeah.
And then else, I mean, at the end of the episode, Oliver goes to see Emiko at the grave, so that they're going to meet. So we're going to start next episode presumably with them having their Oh, hey, bro.
No, we'll jump right over that.
Maybe, but it's happening. We'll see it.
It's happening. It's just happening off screen.
No, they'll flash back to it.
Do you think?
They will.
We can't do flashbacks. We're doing flash forwards now. That's what's in this year.
It wouldn't surprise me if the entire episode is actually them talking, and that so it's one long conversation, but it cuts to flashes or something in between to break it up.
We'll see.
I don't know. I'm not saying they're going to do that. I'm saying I could totally see them doing that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
I'm not saying it's happening. Giving them
too much credit.
I don't even know if I'm saying this is a good thing. I'm just saying this is what I would have expected.
No, because that's taking its time and working through a relationship. That's credit, and Arrow doesn't get that.
Let's talk about the future segments then.
Well, can we just talk about the hair? Do we have to talk? I don't care about the plot. I just want to talk about the hair.
So, future Dinah has always been a bit rough because it's like, okay, they've put some grey in her hair and added a couple of wrinkles, and that's it. It's always looked kind of laughable. However, that is nothing
else. Yeah.
compared to old Renee, who has this ridiculous wig on that I started laughing as soon as he walked out. The second he walked out, as mayor no less, he was wearing this stupid wig. I couldn't stop laughing. It looks atrocious.
Okay, how drunk was I?
You were pretty drunk.
I wasn't drunk enough for this.
Renee had this god awful wig on. I don't know what was happening. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's baffling to me.
So bad. Do you know what? I don't remember anything in this flash forwards other than him and Dinah had a bit of a spat.
Yeah, I mean, Zoe tries to talk to him.
All I remember is the hair.
Yeah, Zoe tries to talk to him to help about these potential bombs and the rest of Star City. He doesn't seem to care. The reveal seems to be that he's actually working with a villain who wants the bombs to go off.
I remember now.
Yeah.
And I remember they told us like 3 or 4 times that Felicity's dead, so she's definitely not.
So,
Arrow's back to normal. What more do you want?
We're not done yet, though. We've got Diaz plot.
There was a Diaz plot?
They're bringing back Suicide Squad so they can put a bomb in Diaz's neck.
Oh, they are, aren't they? I remember now, because Diggle goes off book and just starts chatting shit to the deputy director in front of Lila.
He basically just pulls Suicide Squad out of his ass, even though they never spoke about that before. And towards the end of the episode, they're literally injecting a bomb into his neck, and Diaz is making all these threats. If I get this out of my neck, I'm coming for you. And it's like, shut up.
Yeah. Let's just blow it up.
Yeah. What's kind of weird, actually, with Diaz held captive, there's not really a villain right now.
There's not, is there?
It never really occurred to me until this episode, but there's not really a villain. I guess Diaz will become the villain again. I guess he still is in a way.
Yeah, I think the reason it didn't occur to us is because he was captured, right? And then we got the tease that they were going to go and talk to him and around, but he was captured. He was dealt with. Then we had the crossover, and then we had the break, and then we've come back, and we got the reason didn't because we kind of just assumed they'd set something up in this episode for the rest of the season. Obviously, they didn't.
Nah, which means it's still Diaz, probably.
Yeah.
Which sucks.
I can't wait till next season, because at least it's not Diaz.
We thought that at the end of last season.
Yeah, but they're not going to do it 3 in a row.
So are you really giving them that much credit? I don't know. I don't know if I would.
Is it credit to assume they'll change a villain after 2 seasons?
Well, this show it might be.
Up until now, they've never had one come back for more than 1 season.
Yeah, not barring a cameo, because obviously...
No, but properly, as the main villain.
I don't know. And yet we lost Prometheus after just 1 season.
I missed that theme.
Oh dear, let's move on to Black Lightning.
You didn't know where you were going then,
I know, season 2, episode 10. So here's the thing about Black Lightning, is you were pretty down on this runaway arc.
Yeah.
This was the conclusion to that. It's over now. I would say this episode starts off kind of slow. The first half's a bit slow when when they're still on the run, and it's just kind of everyone looking for them. Although I did kind of like Lynn showing up with a shotgun, insisting that she also helps search, and then they'd be like, "Oh, you can't! It's too dangerous." And she just cocks the shotgun like, "Get out of my way, Jefferson."
Give me an area now.
Or we're going to see how bulletproof you are. So that was kind of funny, but it's a little bit slow early on when it's just like when it's Khalil and Jennifer just kind of bonding in the train.
Them in the train, going whether or not they're going to have sex. Oh my god, this is just boring.
Yeah, that stuff wasn't great. However, the back half of the episode I thought mostly worked for me, or at least it made up for it even, because a couple of key things here. I thought Cutter's because basically Khalil decides to. Him and Jennings decide to go back to the house, and he agrees with Jefferson that he should turn himself in. That it's the only way out of this. He should turn himself in. He's done some bad things, and it's like, yeah, he's right. Of course he should. And it's like, okay. And Jefferson, being the noble guy that he is, despite everything that he's done, is like, hey Henderson, can you see his mum before he goes? Like, just help us out here. He's got a chance. Yeah. And so they set up this transfer, and he's been taken off in the car, the armored car, and. And I think the scene where Cutter's just like, she gets up from the, she's pretending to be like a car accident, and she gets up. I thought how this was shot was really good. I thought the actual menace of her coming after, she kills everyone. There was this thing in the soundtrack. It was like, I don't even know what to call it. It was like a high pitched kind of screeching almost.
Yeah.
But melodic in what it was doing.
Yeah. I remember it. Obviously, it didn't stick out to me quite as much as you.
But it had this really unique kind of feel to it. And I dug that. I dug how this ended, because Tobias goes all Predator on him. He straight up rips out his spine. Well, the spine implant that lets him walk. But it looked like a spine. It looked like Predator. When Predator rips out the skeleton or the spine of the body.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty cool.
That was
Tobias is a badass.
That was a phenomenal scene. That was great.
That was probably the best bit of the season so far.
Yeah, that was gold. And Tobias had a lot of great moments. Remember Kara back at the start of the season having her shootouts? I'm actually I miss her a little bit, because she was getting kind of cool herself.
Tobias might be my favourite part of the show.
I think that's fair. He's a great villain.
He is.
Great villain. So that was great. And then we also have RJ Silas' character, who was introduced last episode, who's now working for Tobias. He's working for me as well, I think. He's got this right mix of kind of nerdy, but he's kind of into what Tobias is doing.
He's like, yeah, let's be evil.
Yeah, but he's also, because of the scene where Cutter comes in for info, and he starts talking about how he's looked into her past and there's some holes in her resume, and she kind of snaps at him, and he's got this smirk in his face. It's like he's kind of in over his head, but he's also kind of having fun with what he's doing.
Yeah, and he's having fun with the challenge of the hacking.
Yeah. I think he's doing a good acting. I think RJ Silas is a good actor. And
he is.
I think he's nailing kind of this balance of this character, and he's fun to have around. Because even Tobias kind of smirks after that crack about her resume. It just sort of smells and says, "Give her the info." He's not even mad at him. He's like, "No, I appreciate the initiative. Just give her the info."
Yeah,
get the job going. So Khalil is actually one of the concerns during the episode is that Khalil might talk about Tobias, but Tobias doesn't seem to care about that, because he just leaves him stranded with his implant out on the road in front of the church as a message to the priest, to the pastor.
I guess it's a case of who's going to believe whatever he says. It's one kid who's has a history of problems versus Tobias, who is at the moment a very well respected member of society.
Yes, by everyone who's not in the know, at least. Anyway.
Yeah, there's a select few who are like, oh, that little prick.
Yeah,
but for the general public are on his side.
Yeah, because it's actually really brutal seeing him lying there with his back's just ripped open. It's quite gory for a network TV show, to be honest.
It is, yeah.
It's quite vicious. And as a gore fan, I was kind of into it.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie. Consequences. So very intrigued by this stuff. Also, Siler does break open the laptop that they got from the ASA, and it's got locations and even live feeds basically of the of metas the original, like I think was it like 4 like metas or something like that were made. And they're somewhere in the city, presumably in the clinic, because the clinic was kind of taken over from the ASA by the, by the locals.
That was kind of like the headquarters by the sounds of it.
So I'm intrigued people are going with that as well.
Interesting stuff going forward. I'm glad this plot for the last few episodes is over.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably the least I've enjoyed the show, this section of story.
I didn't dislike it as much as you, but I'd probably agree it was kind of... I mean, I appreciate that the last few like batches of episodes have all felt like distinct arcs, and this felt like an arc, and so did the one with the town. The war going on between the... I forget their names now. The Sanjay and whatever the one was.
Yeah.
So I'm digging that. So we'll be back to another plot now. But it is nice that Jennifer got like some focus though, because she did get to go through a lot.
I get that. Yeah. I will say I want to go back to saying it's really weird that this was after the break. This one episode of this 3-episode story.
What could they have done outside of delaying the last 2?
I don't know. It's an awkward one, but I don't know. But it feels weird, like
because I think we have 6 left of the season, so I could see that being one big arc now because we're at the it's the last batch, or it could be 2 3-episode arcs.
Yeah. I'd have just started back whatever's taking its place. So I'd have just started that a week later.
Wait, what?
So when this comes back after, whatever when this finishes, something's taking its time slot.
Mm-hmm.
Start that a week later or 2 weeks later, and have had this finished earlier, before Christmas, or started later, or taking some breaks, whatever, and just had these 3 episodes together now, like start them now.
Oh, so delay the last 2 episodes.
Yeah, delay them. Yeah.
Okay, right. You said that in a really roundabout way.
Because at the start I was thinking, well, you can't, because then there's whatever's coming after. But now that they're doing just summer content anyway, it's fine. You can just kind of push into that.
Yeah. But hey, that's the arc done. So we'll be on a new arc next. We'll see. I mean, I presume there'll be some fallout of what's happened to Khalil, because it's pretty devastating.
It is, yeah.
It's maybe the darkest thing that's happened on the show up until this point. And it again makes Tobias look like a formidable villain. Like he has this mean streak. He's got that in him, and it's interesting. So I like this episode quite a bit. I think the first half was definitely slow, but I think the second half really opened things up. I'm liking the new character. I'm liking how vicious Tobias is being. So yeah, good.
I agree with that.
That takes us on to The Flash, season 5, episode 11. It's called Seeing Red. I'm certainly seeing red.
Look at that enthusiasm.
The most enthusiasm I have right now is how bad Cicada's line deliveries are. Chris Kine is an atrocious actor. He is garbage tier.
Yeah, but he's only in like one scene.
But that opening scene and then the final scene as well, because the final little post-credit scene is him looking at photos of like Nora and Cisco and being like, he's heavy breathing, he's doing this thing. But at the start, because the nurse is like, hey, you need to take this medication. He's like, I don't need it. And he's just, every single line that comes out of his mouth is garbage. It is atrocious.
It really is.
If he was in more of it, I might enjoy it, because it's so bad it's hilarious, but
it's just a bad episode. It's
a pretty bad episode. I mean, I'm trying to think of anything I like in this. So it's because the plot is that Cicada's working down a list of metas who have been on the criminal list, right? And because he gets this because there's a contact in the police department who's leaked it to the nurse who's given it to him. And things I like that at least 2 of them are metas we've seen before. One of which, Peekaboo, has been a while ago. So I mean, that's like, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay, I'll give that.
That was okay. That's a nice touch. I'm not against Sherlock's investigation of Nora.
In theory, no.
Like there's some nice little moments there. Him playing coy when Iris is trying to question him.
But Iris is like, "Are you investigating my daughter?"
And she's like, "No." And then she hits the play button on his little recorder and his stopwatch, whatever it is, his pocket watch, and he's like, "Well, maybe I'm an investigator, just a little bit."
Yeah.
So he's on tracks for that. Do you know what I thought was weird, actually? We spoke last week about how there was a scene, it was like a good 30-second scene explaining why Joe wasn't there, right? This episode, for some weird reason, had a similar scene about why Cisco wasn't there. And it really, like, it explained, in fact, no, it wasn't only Cisco, it was Joe as well. They explained why Joe wasn't there again, right? And they said, oh, he's with Wally. And I was like, that's a fine excuse. Why didn't you just say that, like, 3 episodes ago, and you didn't have to mention it again until he comes back? Right? He's with his son.
Pick one.
He's spending time with his son. Easy. Right, done. That's fine. Right? It feels kind of like, the actor needs to be off the show. By the way, he's coming back episode 15. That was announced.
Okay, cool. And it was particularly jarring when later on they were like, should we get Joe back? He should be here for this. And they were like, oh, he's with Wally. He's like, yeah, Wally could bring him over in about 3 seconds.
Yeah, more weird than that, I thought, though, was the Cisco one, where Cisco just hadn't been around yet this episode, and someone said, oh, should we get Cisco to help with this case with Cicada? And Barry says the line, I shit you not. No, he's working on that cure, that's more important, his time's better served there. What? First of all, you know about the cure? Like, we've not even seen the other characters find out about this yet and what they think about it. Barry thinks this is a good idea, apparently, because he's like, oh, Cisco should just stay working on that. To not help with the supervillain who just paralyzed his daughter, or is about to paralyze his daughter. I don't know if this was before or after that, but regardless.
Either way, supervillain.
Yeah, Cicada. He's caused a lot of damage. And like, I don't know. It was like, I mean, you do have to kind of explain why Cisco's not there because he's always there. It's actually really weird that he's not in this episode.
I'll be honest. Until they brought it up, I didn't even notice that he wasn't there yet.
Which is fair. We have too many characters on Flash that we can easily swap in like Ralph instead of Cisco for an episode, and it makes no difference almost. It's whatever. We have an episode with the Snake Eye dude from last season, and again, actually, I heard Amunet skipped town. Oh, I bet she did because Katie Sackhoff's too busy to come and shoot an episode.
Yeah.
It's weird. I feel like so many shows handle this way better where you never question why the characters aren't there. But for some reason, these CW shows, particularly Flash and Arrow, are terrible at having to make excuses for why a character who should be there isn't.
They are pretty bad at it. I mean, why have we had 6 different excuses for Joe? One was fine.
Yeah, it was visiting family with Cecile, and then he didn't come back with her. And now he's with Wally. I don't know. It's because it wasn't Wally at first. It was like his aunt or something like that. It was like
it was definitely not Wally at first.
Yeah. It was a whole thing. It was weird. So they try and like beat Cicada to the next meta, and he ends up taking their powers. Of course, he injures Nora. Nora's paralyzed. Obviously, they expect it will eventually, our super healing will kick in and fix it. But she's paralyzed for a while.
She's wiggling her toes by the end.
Yeah. Well, she's up and about. She's speeding about.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
And she's eating 47 tacos, I believe, is the number.
I was putting it in. What's the correct words here? It was exaggerating, but the opposite. What's the opposite of exaggerating? I don't actually know. Do you know?
Underselling?
Yeah.
Not really,
yeah.
but I mean, it is. It means that, but I wouldn't say it's the opposite of exaggerate.
No, I was underselling it.
De-exaggerate?
Yeah. There needs to be a word for this.
I'm sure there is. I'm curious. Hold on.
You actually looking it up.
Here's where we'll learn if I can remember how to spell exaggerate.
I'll be honest. This is more interesting than Flash was. Knowing whether or not there is a word for de-exaggerating. Unexaggerate? No, that doesn't make any sense. It's
here we go. Opposite exaggerate.
Google no. Google knows everything.
Understate.
Is that it? Really?
Play down, understate, or understated. Those are the anatonyms of exaggerate. That's it.
Fine.
There's
really
it doesn't feel like there's a dedicated opposite. You feel like there should be an opposite.
Like something can be understated. Don't get me wrong.
Of course it can. Yes.
But I wouldn't say, "Oh, I'm understating this." Not in the same way. Oh, I'm exaggerating it. No, it doesn't have the same ring to it. We need a better word for this.
What was your favorite part of the episode?
What indeed. I think I'm gonna have to go with Nora's back being broken and teach her a lesson for once. That shut her up, didn't it?
That feels a bit cruel.
Yeah, it was a bit.
can I also actually? Do you know what the thing I might have disliked the most about this episode? It was, for some reason, Ralph and others, but mainly Ralph, who was like in the plot with Caitlin, not understanding why Killer Frost might have a problem with Caitlin helping develop a metacure. Like, he's like, why would Killer Frost have a problem with that? Oh, I don't know, because it would literally kill her.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not, because they've established that Cicada can't take her powers away, which means she's not really a meta in the same way that everyone else is. But
she's just not a meta from the dark energy. What's I don't know. I'm forgetting. It's late. So she's not a meta from that, but she is still a meta.
Yes. I don't know. It's weird.
Dark matter. That's what I was looking for.
Oh, that's what you're looking for. I could told you that. Yeah. It bugged me. It was like, it's so obvious why Killer Frost would be against this. And until her and Caitlin have a heart-to-heart, because Ralph tells Killer Frost, you know, when she couldn't talk to you or get to you, all she could talk about was finding a way to bring you back. And it was like, yeah, great. We also have the little heartwarming story of Snake Eye guy, who was a nice person at one point before he became a meta. He used to save children at the zoo or wherever he worked.
So he claims.
And so there's this scene where they're trying to evacuate all the metas so Cicada can't get to them, and Cicada's used his boomerang blade thingamajig to cut the bottom of the helicopter off so it can't land. So Ralph stretches up to it, and then he's going to like pick everyone up from the helicopter. And there's this moment that's supposed to be like Snake Eye's becoming a redemptive person, because he tells them to tuck their arms in, and he goes up last, and Ralph's like, you saved them first, nice job. And I'm like, yeah, because if they hadn't tucked their arms in, you wouldn't have been able to pick them up. Like, what?
Yeah, I think it was more just because Ralph says to us, you know, you help him up, right? You stay down here. And he's like, no, I'm doing this for myself. Let me out of it. And I kind of get why he's saying that. Why should he be helping all of them? They're all there together.
It just...
Why is Ralph putting it specifically on him to help?
I guess because he believes he can do it. He believes that he will actually...
Ralph don't believe in shit.
Want to help. Like, my problem with it is that it just feels like such a small thing. All he literally does is stand to the side and say, tuck your arms in and stand here. And I'm like, I feel like they'd have just stepped in the right place, like, once the arms came down.
Yeah, I think the point is supposed to be if something went wrong and and Cicada got through to get to them, he'd be the last one there, so he'd go. So everyone else would get up first if he had to stay behind.
Yeah, but the actual line that Ralph says to him is, "You saved them first." I don't know if I count that as saving them. Like, choosing to be last so that they've got a higher chance of getting out in time. I don't know.
Yeah.
It felt like such a small thing, and it felt like it wanted to make a big deal of it. Like, hey, Ralph taught this villain a lesson. Like,
he didn't really, did he?
No, it didn't feel like it. It felt forced. It was, it was a pretty shitty episode.
Oh, something else I thought was laughably bad.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously Cecile gets that flash from the police officer.
Yeah, she knows it's him that's leaked things, yeah.
Yeah, but she doesn't know what at first. She's just like, oh, that was a bit weird when she meets him in the police station. And then later on when Barry's, angry, understandably so, she's like, oh, I've only felt anger like that. Oh, I felt it earlier today. It must be linked to Cicada. That must be him. Just because someone's angry.
Joe actually bothered me more about this. It wasn't even that. It was later on when, Captain Singh has him arrested and takes him out. And
I know you go.
She turns around and Singh sits down and goes, you knew he was about to run. Because, right before they're talking about this and bringing this up and asking him about it, he tries to run and she says, he's going to run, grab him. And, he runs and they grab him. And he's like, you knew he was going to run. It was almost, if I didn't know any better, I'd almost see it was like you were reading his mind. And she has this little like giggly laugh, and like the acting from her's fine here. Like the laugh is a really funny little moment on its own. The problem is though, it's like, wait, you think she was reading his mind because she predicted that someone who was about to be arrested might try and bolt? What? What? Why did you get to mind reading from that? But I could have predicted that. I can literally follow the police around and then predict every single time they're about to go after someone, they're going to run. Oh,
you really
give her a medal.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they do.
I just thought, I was like, it was such a forced thing to make the joke work. It made me cringe.
Yeah, it was
It
bad.
really made me cringe. This was a pretty shitty episode.
Flash is not in a good place right now, is it?
Cicada is one of the big problems. They've got a horrible villain.
Why was Cicada not dealt with?
Cicada is absolute garbage tier. And let's be honest, he's been garbage the whole time. I think I was trying to be optimistic back at the start when he first was introduced. He looked bad, and which I remember saying at the time. I wasn't trying to sugarcoat that, but I was trying to find ways to like him over the next few episodes. And all they've done is just reinforce time and time again that he's got a bad costume, he's got a bad character, and most importantly, the bad actor. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is that he comes off as just this ridiculous cheeseball.
And it's frustrating when I know we've got Reverse Flash to be dealing with, and we're spending time on this shit.
Yeah, do we care about Cicada? We don't care about Cicada. No one does. And you know what's funny is we were complaining so much about the plot last season. I'm almost missing that at this point. Almost.
See, do you know what they're doing now? They're just lowering the bar, so that next season they just have to be slightly better than this, and we'll be like, yeah, it's all right.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's worse, because I do think that repetitious, like, Ralph, the same lesson every episode for like 6 episodes, is a worse stretch of the show. But the last couple Flash episodes have been...
Did you intentionally use stretch there because you were talking about Ralph, or was that just an accident?
I didn't, but you know what? It's fine. I'll take it. I'll take the accidental pun. It's just been tedious. It's the last 2 episodes, especially this one and the last one, were a complete wet fart, and I'm not convinced. And here's the thing: I bet there's going to be an Interflash time. I bet there's going to be like a great episode mixed in here somewhere, and it'll be
bloody better be.
And it'll be so good, and then it'll be back to the wet farts the following week, and it's going to suck so bad. Again, it feels like they're dragging Cicada out much longer than he should be. He should have been dealt with before the crossover.
That means they had the chance to do it.
They had this scene, and don't get me wrong, it was really funny when he brought the thing back down from space, and it made Cisco look like an idiot. That was really funny, don't get me wrong. But they should have just ended it there, because this Cicada does not have the interest or the weight or the charisma, dare I say,
to have anything,
to hold the rest of the season. It is laughable how bad he is.
I think what's worse is we know he's not holding the rest of the season. We're doing Reverse Flash again. It's just a matter of, okay, how long are we dragging this out for? That's worse to me, is if they were doing this the whole season, at least I know, okay, I'm in for the season.
I don't know what's worse. I don't know which outcome is worse. That this ends like 4 episodes from the end, and we get a 4-episode Reverse Flash thing, right? Because then it'll just annoy me that they planned it in such a weird way where we had this holdover that just stayed there for ages, and then we get a really short Reverse Flash thing. Or is it worse if Reverse Flash then comes into the show proper, and Cicada becomes like his minion or something like that, or they become like allies?
Do you know what I'm a little bit afraid of?
Oh God, what?
That next week is the last week of Cicada, and Cicada is dealt with, and then after that we're on to Reverse Flash, but it's still shit. and then Reverse Flash is being tarnished. I think that actually would, because I don't care about Cicada. Fine, do shite. I'm not personally upset.
What's funny is that this was supposed to be Drunk Watch with Arrow, and it will be next week and all future weeks.
Oh, it bloody will be.
We just didn't. We went too late. We were watching Arrow. We didn't have time. In the future, it will be, and it's basically earned that quality. It's at that point now where it's that
before
bad.
This, it was like, yeah, okay, we'll do Flash first and then Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure I care anymore which way around it goes. I don't think it matters.
Oh, I just want Cicada and Felicity in a room with no weapons.
Oh no! I want the knife. I want to see her get stabbed.
See, I don't know who I want to kill each other more. Like I want them to just beat it to each other to death. Like.
Yeah.
And if we could throw in Ash from Star Trek Discovery.
oh yeah, that's a good one. Let's throw him into
1L too. Let's throw in 1L. He's worthy of a death.
Yeah, it's fine. This blade's magic. It'll go through him.
Yeah, well, Cicada's blades get dark matter on it. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. It's basically magic.
Yeah. Yeah, Flash sucked. I don't even.
I don't know which was worse, Flash or Arrow.
Arrow made me laugh more, and I don't know if that's maybe like I should say it's better because of that, because I was laughing because it was bad.
But you got more enjoyment out of it.
Yeah, it wasn't frequent enough to say that I liked the episode though. It was
no, of course not.
It was still mostly bad. Rough pair of shows.
I remember
right
when
now.
Flash was my favorite of these shows.
Because it's funny because you hadn't watched Supergirl or Flash yet, and I said, "Oh, brace yourself for Flash," because Supergirl I thought was pretty good. I mean, it was decent. Like, it had some good ideas.
Yeah, we spoke about that. It's all right.
Yeah, it was not a bad episode. Flash and Arrow. Oh, geez. Which I guess neatly takes us on to picking our favourite thing of the week. Is Arrow last now? No, Flash is last. We did that. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, Flash is last now.
We've done all of them.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us on to picking our favourite of the week. And I mean, which Young Justice episode is it?
I'm going with 7. I really like that Vandal Savage stuff. I thought it was really tightly structured.
I have to go with 9.
Okay.
I have to go with the baby birthday. I have to go with the John Kent tease. I have to go with, all that stuff.
I can't argue with any of it. I mean, great episodes all around for Young Justice.
Yep. Out of the live action stuff though, Supergirl and Black Lightning are the ones who are competing for it.
Yeah, it's kind of tough because Supergirl, Black Lightning definitely has higher highs in the back half, but that first half's kind of a bit not
Supergirl's
so hot.
a bit more even, so it kind of go either way depending on how you feel.
Let's go Black Lightning just for the spine ripping.
The spine ripping.
That was cool. I'll take some spine ripping.
But then there's a pretty big gap.
After
those two.
It's a gaping chasm.
After those two, it's a pretty gaping chasm before we get to Flash and Arrow, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Hopefully they could pick it up, because I'd love for it to get better again, but Jesus. Oh well. Yeah. That brings an end to television from the multiverse. 60-something, 4 maybe? I don't know. I can't remember what number on.
This got unprofessionally ended, didn't it?
I can't remember what number on. This is what Flash and Arrow does to me.
I know. What was the last one? 62. This is 63. Oh, you were wrong. Is that the first time you got them wrong?
It may have been, actually, yeah. This is 63. All right. Apologies this was late again. A couple of delays. We should hopefully be back on a normal day next week. If not, as always, blame Connor. So look forward to the next episode. We'll have the 4 Young Justice mid-season episodes to do.
Yes.
Plus, of course, another Flash, Arrow, Supergirl, and Black Lightning. So good fun. Unless one's taking a week off, which we've not checked, but it wouldn't be surprises if one was.
Yeah, I think we're too early still for that.
Probably, but just if one doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But there you go. So let us know what you thought of the episodes in the comments below. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on the Twitters at mailed_fuzz or at DC Comics Podcast for comic stuff specifically. You can, of course, get us on patreon.com/mailedfuzztv if you want to support the channel and the show and everything we do here. You can, of course, buy merch now if you would like. There'll be links in the description. I don't know if this is the first episode we've done since we started doing merch. I can't tell.
I think we did it on last week.
Maybe. But there's links in the description. If you want to go check that out. And I think that's about everything. So here's hoping that Flash or Arrow will be better next week. Please.
At least one of them.
Please. Pretty please. I would very much enjoy a good episode of either of those shows if they would like to facilitate me. And I wouldn't even have said Arrow was an option before, but we had that one great episode before Christmas. So you know what? Like, it's possible. It can happen.
Yeah. Maybe that documentary one we were on about will be okay.
Yeah, episode 150 coming up. So thank you very much for watching and listening once again. We always appreciate it. Keep watching superhero TV shows and all that stuff. And always remember that sometimes we screw things up for the better.